IvyHacks. My name is Jennifer Guo. I'm a sophomore at Harvard studying computer science, and I'm also on the Hacker Experience team.
So IvyHacks is the first ever hackathon jointly hosted by 6 Ivy League universities. It is a 4-day event from October 1st to 4th US Eastern Time, and it is hosted online. And what makes this event so special is you. So glad that you're all here. This year, we have over 3,000 participants from 500 different schools all around the world, with more than 10 nationalities represented. 41% of you are first-time hackers, and 9% of you attending more than 5 hackathons. And Jennifer, since you're on the Hackers Experience team as well, what is the theme for this year?
Our theme this year is Building Bridges, Breaking Barriers.
That's right. So this year, since we're all amidst this tragic pandemic, we hope that we can use tech for building bridges and breaking barriers. This year, we will have 4 tracks. First, social good. Second, healthcare. Third, remote education and work. And fourth, connectivity. Of course, you're not bounded by these tracks, and feel free to have any ideas that you have. And check out ivyhacks.devpost.com for more information about tracks.
All right, I'm sure you're all wondering about the logistics of hacking at this event. So let's just get right into it. Remember, there are a lot of links in this slide, but the slides will be shared with you after the opening ceremony, and all the links are on Discord and the Hacker Guide. So first things first, make sure to join our Discord. Our Discord is our centralized hub for all things schedule related to mentorship and judging related, and a great place to meet your hackers in general. So make sure to check the Discord for announcements. As for getting help, we know it's really difficult to create a project within 4 days at a hackathon. So we have this awesome mentorship system set up for you guys. If you want to get in touch with a mentor for technical help, like issues with code or ideation in your project, head over to the Discord and the mentor ticket channel and just follow the instructions and we'll connect you with a mentor. For general help, in case you need an IvyHacks organizer, go to Discord in the support ticket channel and follow the instructions there to connect with an organizer. So we'll be using gather.town for our social events at this hackathon. Gather is this awesome interactive map where you can kind of walk around and simulate natural interactions between you and other hackers. So make sure to join us for our Gather social. And all of the Gather links are again linked on our schedule. As for our schedule, our one source of truth for our schedule is on our team up, which again is linked on the Discord. So make sure to check the team up for any changes in schedule. We'll be updating it throughout the hackathon in case there are any changes. All the Zoom links are here, all the event descriptions are here, as well as who you'll be hearing from. So make sure to check our team up. Make sure to also check our hacker guide, which is linked on our Discord and also on the slide for other non-schedule related questions. And the password for all our Zoom events is IvyHacks.
Wow, Jennifer, that's a lot of events lining up. But wait, I am here alone and I have a team. What should I do?
That is totally fine. So many hackers are here without a team, just by themselves. And IvyHacks really tries to foster meeting other hackers and forming your own teams. So on the Discord, we have a team formation channel. So you can find teammates or simply network with other people. Just send out an introduction message in that channel and meet other hackers. We also have 3 team formation events today using Glimpse as our platform. And Glimpse is this online website that matches you up with other hackers for one-on-one 2-minute video conversations. So make sure to get the link to Glimpse, again, on our team up and the timing for those team formation events. So I bet you're all wondering about how to submit your project and what prizes you can win. So the hard deadline for submitting all projects is Sunday, October 4th at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. No late submissions will be accepted. So please, please, please try to start submitting your project by 2 p.m. Eastern Time at least, in case you encounter any technical difficulties. And the process for submitting is kind of a long one, so make sure you're ready for that. IvyHacks team members will also be ready for help in case you do encounter any technical difficulties. So how do you submit your project? IvyHacks uses DevPost as our submission platform. So head over to ivyhacks.devpost.com, again linked on our Discord. Then attach a link to a public GitHub repo that was created during the dates of the hackathon. This is to prevent cheating in case anyone worked on the project before the hackathon. So make sure that the repo was created during those dates or you might be disqualified. Make sure to submit a required video demonstration explaining your project in under 2 minutes. And also make sure to select the appropriate tracks and prizes that your project is competing for. For example, if I wanted to win the social good prize, then I would have to opt in to the social good prize track while submitting on DevPost to be eligible. And optionally, you can also sign up for a 5-minute live demonstration slot. And the link is again posted on the Discord. If you do opt to do this, you have to also submit the required video demonstration as well. The live demonstration slot is simply to provide practice for pitching your project live and also to answer Q&A with a real life judge. So our prize categories for IvyHacks, we have 3 best overall prizes. So this is your first, second, and third best hack in the entirety of IvyHacks. We also have 4 best in a specific track prize. So this would be your best social good hack, best healthcare hack, etc. We also have other non-thematic prizes. So this is the hack with overall the best design, best implementation and potential for growth hack, and your best first-time hack. And to be eligible for the best first-time hack, your entire team has to be composed of all first-time hackathon attendees. And we also have our sponsored prizes given to us by IBM, Wayfair, Google Cloud, and Room Service. And you'll be hearing from our sponsors later in the opening ceremony. And again, check out our dev post for a full list of prizes and everything that you can win. So our first place hacker does get to go to Pinnacle this year. So Pinnacle is the Olympics of hackathons. It is a hackathon that invites winners from each of the top 50 collegiate hackathons to a separate hackathon next year in September. So IvyHacks is a qualifier for Pinnacle. If you win this weekend, you'll earn a ticket to Pinnacle next year with 100% travel reimbursement to San Francisco and awesome internship and full-time opportunities from recruiters all throughout the event. So make sure to be excited for Pinnacle if you do win at IvyHacks this weekend. Lastly, we have our Hacker Spirit Prize. So this is a $50 Amazon gift card awarded to the top 3 hackers that attended the most events and talks throughout the hackathon. So to be eligible to win this, you do have to record your attendance for every talk that you go to through the listed form. Again, we'll be on the Discord in case you missed it. And remember to take a screenshot of the Zoom call as proof of attendance.
All right, let's look at our events. This year, we have the great honor to invite 4 keynote speakers, 1 for each day. We have Michael, Louis, Sue, and Li Meng, and they're all tech leaders in the industry. Please come and check out the keynote speeches. Maybe you'll get inspired for your hackathon projects. We also have fireside chats. So fireside chats are these more interactive sessions where you can ask questions and hear about some experiences from our guest speakers. And we have Gail, Lele, Potion, Ali, and Elizabeth. And among these guest speakers, 2 of them require registration for the fireside chats. The first one is for Shopee's fireside chat for Lele. So Shopee is the #1 e-commerce app in Southeast Asia and Taiwan, and their gross market value was 18 billion, which actually exceeded Amazon. So if you want to meet the head of engineering at Shopee, please register ASAP via the QR code or via our schedule on TeamUp. And we also have Ali, the CEO of Neo. So he's gonna offer some office hours and also the fireside chat. Again, please register via the QR code or on TeamUp. And lastly, we have a lot of panels and workshops. Hey, Jennifer, which ones are your favorites so far?
Well, I'm personally so excited to attend the product management panel. I'm an aspiring product manager, so I'm super excited to hear from people that are actually working in the field. What about you?
I'm so excited for the artificial intelligence and machine learning panel. I mean, that's like the field right now. So please come join us to learn more about these topics. And lastly, we have our sponsors. We have some videos and messages from our sponsors for some cool opportunities and initiatives. First, with IBM.
Hello, my name is Lucas San, and I've been a program manager with IBM for a little more than a year now. Over that time, I've had the pleasure of working on this fantastic initiative called Call for Code. Call for Code is a partnership between IBM, the David Clark Cause, the Linux Foundation, the American Red Cross, and the UN Human Rights Council, all about using technology to solve the world's problems. You may have missed this year's global competition where we offered $200,000 and the promise of deploying the solutions created to developers all around the world. While we're not able to offer $200,000 this weekend, what we do have is $1,000 for the first place team, $500 for second, and $250 for third. We're asking you to create solutions addressing the community response to COVID-19. So this means solutions that address remote education, crisis communication, community cooperation, or anything else that helps us get a little bit closer to normal. Our one requirement is that you use at least one IBM API or service. For a better understanding of what these services are, head over to developer.ibm.com for a ton of code patterns, blogs, and video tutorials that'll help you get started. We'll also be sure to have a ton of mentors in the Discord that'll help answer any questions you may have. We're really excited to see what you create this weekend, and good luck.
And we also have Google Cloud.
Hey everyone, my name is Ryan and I'm a developer advocate at Google. Our challenge for the weekend is about Google Cloud. Cloud computing is all about getting things done using someone else's computers. So when you use Google Cloud, you're getting things done using Google's computers. Google Cloud lets you build and host applications and websites, store data, and analyze data, all on Google's highly scalable and reliable computing infrastructure. We have a suite of developer products that you can try out in your hackathon projects this weekend. We have App Engine, which is good for deploying web apps to the cloud. We also have Firebase, which is our mobile development platform featuring the real-time database. We also have other databases like Cloud Firestore, Cloud SQL, and Cloud Storage. We also have Google Maps platform, which gives you the power of Google Maps data in an API format. I also want to highlight our Google Cloud machine learning APIs. These allow you to gain insights about your data using pre-trained machine learning models hosted on Google Cloud. What's awesome about these is that you don't actually have to know any machine learning yourself to use them. You're simply using the power of Google Cloud's machine learning to help you analyze your data. We have APIs for video intelligence, vision, speech, natural language, and translation. The vision API is for analyzing images. One feature is landmark detection, detecting important places in your photo like the Golden Gate Bridge. There's also label detection, which gives you descriptions of what's going on in the image, like resort and swimming pool, with a confidence score from 0 to 100% for each one. There's also face detection, to detect different faces in the photo, along with their locations, as well as emotions like joy, sorrow, and anger, and how likely they are for each person. Our natural language API is great for analyzing pieces of text. One feature is entity detection, which detects important keywords in your text, like Pennsylvania, Biden, and campaign trail. There's also sentiment analysis to detect how positive or negative your piece of text is. We have an API challenge this weekend for best use of Google Cloud. Just use any Google Cloud product in your project to qualify. Each member of the winning team will receive a Google Cloud Pedagogy backpack, a trophy, and a water bottle. We also have a second place prize, which is a Google Nest Mini for each team member. We also have a second challenge, which is the Google Cloud COVID-19 Hackathon Fund. we are looking for outstanding projects to use Google Cloud to solve for COVID-19 related challenges. Selected projects will receive an exclusive invitation to apply for up to $5,000 of additional Google Cloud credits, as well as guidance from Google developers to continue your project beyond the hackathon. Potential categories include healthcare and life sciences, economic impact, social engagement, and education and distance learning. Learn more at g.co/learncloud/hackathon-fun. Check for an email from Major League Hacking to activate $25 of Google Cloud free credits. We also have a Google Cloud workshop, Friday at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, where we'll cover data and machine learning with BigQuery. We also have a Firebase Tech Talk recording that is available on Discord, where Andrea covers several key Firebase products. If you have any questions or need help, ping us in Discord and we're happy to help you. Thank you.
Next, we have Wayfair. And we have Doppler.
If you've ever been in a hackathon where the clock is ticking, all of a sudden your app isn't working because it's not configured properly, then you know it can feel like the Imperial Death March. I'm Ryan from Doppler, and in my workshop that's on at 10:30 a.m. on the 2nd of October, I'm going to be sharing with you my best tips to make sure you can go fast at your hackathon by making sure that you're not plagued by problems like sharing app config and secrets between your team and making sure that's all synchronized with production. You don't want to lose time on any of that stuff. You want it all to just work, and I can share with you how to use Doppler so you don't have any issues with config whatsoever. I'm going to be sharing all this in the first 10 minutes, so if you can't make it to the full thing because you want to focus on hacking, that's totally fine. The rest will just be Q&A and troubleshooting and anything else I can help you guys out with. So enjoy IvyHacks, and I hope to see you at the workshop.
And lastly, we are a MLH, Major League Hacking Recognized Hackathon, and here's a video from them.
Hi, everyone. I'm Anu here from MLH. I'm so excited to be here at IvyHacks this weekend. I'm coming to you all from Charm City of Baltimore. I've been attending I think IvyHacks is like my 33rd hackathon. So it's really exciting. I'm really excited to meet all of you. Give us a follow on our social media to follow along for awesome updates throughout this weekend. And Will from MLH is also in Discord, so you can either come to me or him for all things related MLH, or just come chill with us on Gather in Discord. We want to meet all of you. And just a little cheat sheet here, hack.mlh.io is where you'll find all the information that you're about to cover, which is I'm about to cover here. And we know it's a lot, so we made this awesome resource for all of you. And you might wonder, okay, Anuvia, so what is Major League Hacking? Well, Major League Hacking is the official global hacker community, and it is our mission to empower hackers like each and every single one of you. And we're global, so that means we have hackathons happening in the EU, in the APAC as well, so pretty cool. And it consists of 135,000 student hackers, just like each and every single one of you. So welcome to the community. And by being at one of Major League Hacking's events, you all are earning points for your school in our season-long contests and rankings. So if y'all want more points, you should bring more folks from your community, get involved in hackathons and attending fun events, such as Local Hack Day. So Local Hack Day Learn is happening in late October, and basically we describe it as like a celebration of learning and kick it off to the 2021 Local Hack Day series. When it happens, you might wonder, well, it's Sunday through Friday. There will be tons of workshops. It's week-long. Saturday will be like a mini conference. We'll be running workshops all week from Sunday through Friday. Then on Saturday, we'll be live streaming all the day with talks, workshops, etc. So if you like IvyHacks, and if you like conferences, come out to Local Hack Day. Next up, you might wonder, well, okay, that's really cool. You're doing all these awesome events. Well, what are we doing here this weekend in New York? Well, friends, we have this really fun activity today, actually, at 6 p.m. EST on Zoom, which is the U.S. Air Force Cybersecurity Challenge. So it's kind of like a capture the flag style challenges that we'll walk through as a group. Everyone can learn something and participate, and we'll probably be even raffling off some really cool shirts and prizes, so on and so forth. And we also have the MS Bob Paint Bob Ross mini event, which we're going to see your most artistic version of Bob Ross in MS Paint. Really fun. Will be running that at 9 p.m. EST on Saturday, also on Zoom. And friends, we have the beautiful 2020 season t-shirts. If you attend one of our mini events or win one of the prizes, you have the potential chance of winning our 2020 season t-shirt with our beautiful Ducky the Debugger, sponsored by our friends from Capital One. Next up, we have the Draw an Octocat, Win an Octocat. Like I said, we love artsy people, and we love you try to be artsy and whatnot. Just explore that creativity, you know? So Draw an Octocat, Win an Octocat is basically draw your own rendition of Mona the Octocat from GitHub and tweet it with an entry at GitHub Education with hashtag MyOctocat and hashtag IvyHacks, and we'll choose a winner. And our friends at GitHub also have this really cool student developer pack. If you haven't checked it out, go ahead and check it out. It's tons and tons of software options there, literally thousands of dollars worth of software options. Pretty cool. Check that out as well. And we also have all the resources that you'll be needing throughout this weekend. For our friends from domain.com have a free domain name with 1-year domain privacy for .space, .tech, and .online domains. Just use the weekend code, which is pumpkin time. You know, it's fall and sweater weather here in the States. Also, we have free Google Cloud credit. I know we have our awesome sponsor, Google Cloud, here as well. So you can either go to them or me, but make sure you check your email to redeem up to $100 in Google Cloud credits. So each time you go to New Hackathon, you get more credits. So refill codes by talking to me or Will. We're also doing a cool prize for best use of Google Cloud. And make sure you check out our hackathon starter kits. Definitely a great place for you all to get started with all the cool software that we're talking about here. Especially for you first-time hackers, welcome to the community. Huge shout out to you all. And all the things that I just talked about, they're really cool prizes that go along with it. For more information, check out DevPost for a detailed list there as well. All right, y'all, this is really important. This is a limited edition this is a limited edition Ellie the Elephant sticker. Like I said, Ducky it's cool, but we're past Ducky. Now we got Ellie because it's an upgrade. So if y'all know MLH, we do season mascots, and this is a limited edition Ellie the Elephant I demoed sticker. So for all of you who show up and submit your demos on Sunday, you're going to get this beautiful sticker to add to your collection. I have a pretty intricate collection. I love collecting, and this is what I collect. So definitely check that out. And we also have the MLH Career Lab. If you all are looking for internships, full-time jobs, this is a great place to get started. We know y'all are looking out there, and this is a really good place to get started. All right, friends. On a more serious note, MLH hackathons are a safe space for everyone. So what does that mean? You just be good to everyone and be respectful. Harassment and abuse are not tolerated. At digital events, it's important to remember there's a human on the other side of the screen. So boundaries exist. Be mindful of connecting with people online and social profiles without permission. Folks aren't ignoring you, they just don't reply immediately. So give time for us to get back to you or just organizers in general. And if you're having an issue, come see me. We want you to have an amazing time. So if you can't find someone, use this email address or phone number here to get in contact with our incidents hotline. Folks, I really insist it. We're in a digital environment. Just really be mindful. There is someone else on the other side of the screen, especially when you're talking to someone on Discord, so on and so forth. Just be nice and friendly, and let's have fun this weekend. So happy hacking, y'all. And thank you to all our partners. And once again, let's have a blast at IvyHacks, y'all. Bye.
All right, make sure to check out the sponsor channels on Discord and DevPost for more information on sponsor prizes and talking to sponsors.
Yes, and another round of thanks to all of our sponsors. Without them, this event couldn't have been possible. And without further ado, let's welcome Michael. And let me introduce Rachel here from IvyHacks to introduce our first keynote speaker.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming to IvyHacks. I'm Rachel, one of the IvyHacks organizers from Cornell, and I'll be moderating our first keynote with Michael Seibel, the CEO of Y Combinator and founders of companies like Justin TV and Twitch. Aside from that, Michael's also repping some Ivy League pride as a Yale alumni. And while we're waiting for him to come, feel free to join our Discord and ask us some questions in the Q&A and we'll answer them.
Hi, Michael, are you here?
I don't think he's here right now yet. Oh, he just joined. Okay. So I think Michael just joined. Once again, he's the CEO of Y Combinator, and we're so excited to have him here. He'll be kicking off our event with an inspiring talk on what students should be doing in school as aspiring entrepreneurs and how to design tech in the face of the COVID-19 crisis. So without further ado, please welcome Michael Seibel.
There we go. Okay, thank you for the introduction. So when I was thinking about what to talk to you all about, something that comes up more and more nowadays in my life, talking to early stage founders, especially young founders, is they don't know what to work on. And I think we have somewhat of an issue in the startup community that concerns me, which is that more and more the people who have the opportunity to create a startup don't have problems or aren't picking problems well. And I'll say that a different way. More and more, the people who have the opportunity to build a startup actually have no idea what to build at all. And as a result, I think that what they do, and this really concerns me, is they look to investors to figure out what to build. And, you know, this suppresses me in a number of ways, but I understand it because I feel as though as students, oftentimes you really look to teachers to figure out what to do, what to study for, what's important, what to learn. And unfortunately, when you apply that same rubric to investors, when it comes up to what to build, it fails you. Now, what's tricky is that investors are extremely willing to share their opinions about the problems of the day. If any of you are using Twitter, you can see what investors think about all kinds of problems that they themselves are not working on, whether it's remote work or COVID or moonshots and rockets and so on and so forth. And I think that a lot of founders get confused when they read those things. they turn that investor into their teacher, and they use that person to determine where they should be working. I think that's incorrect. I think second, I see founders looking at what's technically interesting to determine what they should be working on. It's another extremely common thing. AI is hot right now. That's what everyone is interested in at school. That's what all the professors are interested in, or NLP, or who knows what else. And time again, I see young people outsourcing what they're going to work on to people they perceive as experts. I would tell you that that is not in the spirit of the startup community. I can't promise you if you do a startup, you're going to be successful, you're going to make any money, anyone's going to know or care what you work on, or even that you'll get any customers. There are a couple of things I can promise you, though. You get to choose the problem you work on, and you get to choose the people you work with, and if it fucks up, it's your fault. That's what I can promise you. And I think the question that I would ask you is, why would you give up any of those freedoms? Because I can't promise you you're going to win. But why would you give up the freedom to choose what you work on or who you work with? Even worse, I see founders, once they come up with an idea, assume some expert or mentor can tell them how to be successful. Once again, that works really well when you're a middle school student trying to get tracked in high school, or when you're a high school student trying to get into a good college. It works very poorly in the startup world. And so the idea that you would outsource what we should do, right, how to actually win, is also really scary, because it violates this idea that that's one of the few things you get to choose. That's one of the few superpowers, is that you are the decider inside of your startup. Why would you outsource that? So there's this weird thing going on where I think that some people are trying to equate the startup world with normal careers. And when I was in school, which was 2000 to 2005, nobody thought startups were cool at all. Hackathons were not popular at all. None of this shit was popular. I went to Yale, and my year, there were 10 CS grads, right? But the nice thing about it was that VC Twitter didn't exist. If you wanted to pick a problem, you had to pick one on your own. There weren't a bunch of startup mentors and advisors and accelerators and telling you how to create your company. And it wasn't cool to do a startup, so the people that you actually chose to work with are people you actually liked spending time with, because those are the only people you would actually convince, or you could convince, to work with you. Now, there were a lot of disadvantages during that time too, but those things were nice. The hot industry back then was finance. And everything that I see wrong with startups today, coming from early stage founders and young founders, looks a lot like what I saw in finance. A whole bunch of people who are good at math and science, who are being told this is the important industry. They see all their friends getting internships at Goldman Sachs and wherever the fuck else, so they try to do it too. Very similar to all of you trying to get internships at Google and Facebook. And then mindlessly, they go through this extremely elaborate recruiting process that makes them feel like this company's got their back, like this industry is important. And before long, they're bankers. And only 2 years in do they realize, why am I doing this? This sucks. A lot of the same thing has been happening to tech and startups. And it's really, really unfortunate to meet a founder who doesn't even really want to do a startup. They're just doing it because it's cool, or because the people around them think it's cool. And because that guiding principle of doing what the smart people think is cool has worked for them so far. So they're trying it again. I want to paint you a different picture about how this game works, because this isn't a career. It's not like going into finance. It's not like becoming a lawyer. None of those roles have a 99.9% chance of failure. And if you actually want to be a founder, you're going into a game with a 99.9% chance of failure. And so clearly the rules should be different. Clearly, like, the strategy that you attack this with should be different than the strategy you attack a normal career with. Because imagine you went to law school or you went to business school and they told you, oh, you have a you've got a 0.1% chance of becoming a lawyer if you go to law school. You have a 0.1% chance of becoming a banker if you go to business school. It would seem like your decision should be considered a lot more carefully. So what I'll say is most of the people around you who are quote unquote working on startups are not startup founders. They will not start a company ever in their entire lives. They're doing it to have an item on their resume. There's nothing wrong with them. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just that the kind of people who are cut out for this are few and far between. So if you use your peers who say they're doing a startup in college, who effectively have a side project, if you use them as your peer group or as the group of people that you're going to measure yourself against, you're starting in the wrong place. From my experience, something is a little bit wrong with the people who are good at doing startups. And like, if you heard me speak before, I often say that doing a startup's like getting punched in the face every day, right? I think a lot of people would say that there's something a little bit wrong with someone who decides to be a boxer as a career, because they get signed up to get punched in the face every day. Something's a little, and wrong, wrong has some kind of like weird sense to it. I don't mean wrong like it's bad. I mean wrong like something's a little different about these people. They're not average people who decide to get punched in the face every day. Some subset of you have a set of internal differences that makes you a lot more likely to be successful as a startup founder. I'd say the first is not succumbing to the crowd. I would say the second is really being frustrated in a situation where you have a boss. Really being frustrated in a situation where like you don't control your fate. And I'd say the third is the opposite of that one, which is knowing that you can extract the best out of yourself if death is on the line. So there's a small subset of people that I think actually work well under those conditions. And those aren't normal conditions. Let's be clear. No company would ever set itself up so the normal employee had to work and be productive under those conditions. It'd be stupid. But those are the conditions that you have to be productive under, that you are excited to be productive under if you're going to be a great founder. And so I think the first thing that young people in college who are technically minded and are exploring the startup world should ask themselves is, am I that kind of person? If you're not, there's no harm in admitting it to yourself and playing a different game. It's just the same thing as a basketball player saying, hey, most basketball players in the NBA are like above 6 feet tall. If I'm 5'2", maybe this isn't the right sport for me. That's okay. And I think that's different from a normal career, because I think there are all kinds of different people that make great lawyers, and all kinds of different people that make great doctors, and all kinds of different people who make great bankers. And those careers have a much higher success rate. I think that one of the reasons why the startup game has such a low success rate is because it's a very different type of person who can consistently perform under circumstances where if they make a mistake, everything blows up. Like, that's not a healthy way to perform. You would never want to teach a kid that way. Hey, here's your homework. If you ever give any problem wrong, you get an F for the class. You would never teach anyone that way, right? You would never, like, that's not how most people should operate. But some people can't really get the best out of themselves without that. So if you're that kind of person, maybe you should consider doing a startup. And if you're that kind of person, I think the most important question I would ask myself when trying to pick the startup idea is, how can I hack my personal motivation? You're going to do something that's really, really, really hard. And actually, as you succeed, it gets harder. A lot of the reason why people quit and startups fail is because the actual kind of motivation tank inside of the founder goes to zero. It wasn't because the founder wasn't smart or talented. It wasn't even because the founder was working on the wrong thing. It was that they didn't manage their kind of internal pool of motivation. I think picking an idea is one of the most important ways to do this. Can you pick an idea? Can you pick a problem that's going to continuously provide you with the new store of motivation? Can you pick a problem that you're going to be excited to work on when everything's failing? Can you pick a problem that you're excited to work on when everyone thinks that that's not cool? Can you pick that type of problem? And I think you should be thinking, how do I hack my chances of success by picking a problem that I'm going to be irrationally motivated to solve? And let's be clear, whatever is trending on VC Twitter today will not be trending a year from now. So if your motivation's derived from what investors think, you're kind of fucked. Whatever your friends think is cool right now won't be cool 2 years from now. So if that's where your motivation's derived, you're fucked. Whatever technology is hot right now won't be hot in 5 years. So if you pick it based on the hot technology, you're fucked. A lot of the reason why investors say you should pick a personal problem has to do with this. They say pick a personal problem because it's a hack on your motivation. If you have this problem, as long as it's not solved, you're pissy. And a pissed off founder with a problem is a very powerful thing. The other advantage of solving a personal problem is you know a lot about it. You've probably tried to solve it in a number of different ways. You can honestly talk to yourself about how intense this problem is, right? If you choose to, you can choose to not lie to yourself because this is a problem that you actually understand. What's scary about picking a personal problem is most likely you won't know how to solve it at the start. And that's really fucked up, right? Because like, how many things are like that in your life? How many math problems do you start solving before you know how to solve them? How many papers do you start writing before you actually know what the thesis is, before you know what the point you're trying to make is? You're not often trained to do this in normal school. You're trained to think of the problem and then, think of the problem, think of the solution, then write the solution down. But startups, I can almost promise you that your first version of your solution is wrong. And I can almost promise you that you're not going to really start learning what a good solution is until you have a bad solution out in the world in front of users. But if you pick a problem that you love, a problem that you've experienced, a problem that's part of your community, part of your family, a problem that you wouldn't mind failing to solve, that can be the thing that allows you to survive the first version of your solution failing, the second version of your solution failing, the third version of your solution failing. Now, I wonder how many of you have friends who have what I call pivotitis. My definition of pivotitis is every 3 months they're working on something different, right? These are the kinds of folks who I'm talking about. This is the approach that produces pivotitis, is the Don't care about the problem you're solving. Dream up some solution and convince yourself it's right before you build it. Build it, learn that it's wrong, and then move on to something else, because you didn't give a shit about that problem in the first place. You just thought you were so smart. The first version of your solution was going to beat everything else out there. You're probably not that smart. You're probably not going to win on perfect V1. You can bet on winning on perseverance. You can't bet on winning on perfect V1. So I think this is the thought that I want to leave you with. And I hope that you take notice here that startup founders are different. They're not common. And startup ideas that work tend to be shat on by the peanut gallery when they start. So if you're too responsive to the investors, to the people around you, and you miss out on that concept, then someone who's brave enough to do something that's a little contrary will beat you. And just to give you some examples, when Google started, there were a ton of search engines out there. Conventional wisdom was search was a solved problem. It's one of the most valuable tech companies in the world. And the conventional wisdom when they started was that this is a solved problem and search is commoditized. Search is done. How many of the people around you in the startup communities you know would have been brave enough to start a search company in 1998? Those people might be good co-founders. Ditto with Facebook. Everyone wants to rewrite history and talk about how Facebook was inevitable. Well, I was there when Facebook started. You know what conventional wisdom was? MySpace was already won. The game is over. Who cares what college kids are doing on some shitty website called the Facebook? That is irrelevant. Hell, people thought the telephone game was done. And then WhatsApp comes and with 60 employees does more telephony than AT&T. In each of those cases, if those founders had taken a survey of investors, the majority of investors would have told them that they're working on the wrong idea. And I'll give you a personal one. Before Justin TV became Twitch, we were working on two different projects. One was called Justin TV Gaming, which is the Twitch you know today. The other was called Social Cam, which was called Instagram for video. We went around, we talked to all of the most famous VCs, like all the people that you follow on Twitter. And we asked them, which of these things is going to work better? Instagram for video or a live streaming website where people are going to watch each other play video games? Guess what everyone said? Instagram for video, of course. Of course. Well, that Instagram for video product, Social Cam, sold for $60 million and Twitch sold for $1 billion. So I give you permission to be contrarian. I give you permission to not do what your friends are doing. I give you permission to do something that your friends think is a dumb idea. I give you permission to do something that investors think is a dumb idea. Like, I give you permission to be a startup founder and to choose what you work on, who you work with, and to take responsibility for the outcome. You have permission to do that. if you don't reach for those things, it's on you. If you're interested in reaching on those things, you know, YC can help, but we don't have to. Most of the products you use today did not go through any accelerator. An accelerator is not a required step to build a company. This isn't like law school. It's not like business school. I think one of the things that YC is really great at is having this type of conversation. How do we separate all the bullshit of all the startup people who are not really working on anything that they give a shit about and who are inevitably going to fail from the few people who are really passionate, who have a chance to actually change the world? And like, how do we talk honestly about this? And what's interesting is the first day of YC, we literally say a version of this. We say, congratulations, you know, out of, I don't know, like this batch probably will be around 16,000 people who apply. You're one of the, or 16,000 companies. You're one of the 200 to 250 who got in. Congratulations. First thing we say. The second thing we say is that according to our math, only about 5 of your companies will actually accomplish its mission. Will actually solve the problem for the users, will actually build a large organization, will actually succeed. The rest of you are going to fail. And what's funny is that when we bring alumni back to speak to YC, that's the part that they remember. The successful alumni, that's the part they remember, because they all tell the same story. When I knew my startup was a shit show, I knew that we were fucked 6 ways, but when YC started and you said 5 of you are going to win, I knew we were going to be one of those 5. And that's what it takes. What it takes is like being in a room full of really talented, hardworking people and still having to be extraordinary, not average. Hack your motivation when coming up with an idea. Ignore the popular trend of today. You're aiming for something that's 5 to 10 years down the road. And if this isn't the life for you, that's okay. Go find something else. You don't need to be part of this world. There are other places where you can contribute amazing amounts of value. You don't have to follow the crowd. All right, that's what I got for you. Good luck.
Well, Michael, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. Since we wrapped up a bit early, I'd love to end it on one question that many of our hackers had to know.
Yep.
So what is your framework for asking founders questions at Y Combinator, and how can we apply that in evaluating our own ventures?
You know, I think one framework that's interesting is, why are you uniquely qualified to build this company? Emphasis on uniquely. All too often I see founders choose things that they are in no way uniquely qualified to work on, where like literally they could find 10 of their peers who are just as qualified to work on as them, and they actually know 3 people who are way more qualified to work on it than who aren't. I call this kind of a grass is greener phenomenon. I think sometimes as you get more qualified to work on something, as you understand a problem better, it's more intimidating. You're more afraid that you won't be able to come up with a solution. So it's a lot easier to choose problems you don't understand well, because it's easier to assume everyone else who's tried to solve those problems is an idiot and you're smart, so you can figure it out. Whereas like in the areas that you know well, you're like, oh man, that's tough. Like I'm not even gonna work on that. I've had that problem for 10 years and no one solved it. It might be impossible to solve. And so I think the framework of why am I uniquely positioned to solve this problem is really important. And I think the most unfortunate thing for you all is that you're starting companies at a different time. The bar is higher. It's higher without you realizing it. because there's a lot more money invested in early stage startups, right? And so it looks like there are a lot more startups, right? But the number of successful startups isn't massively increasing. So clearly the money isn't the determinant factor on how many successful startups we get. And so the problem that you all face is that when I was doing a startup, web applications were new. Mobile wasn't even started yet. More often than not, people who were building something were amongst the first to build it. You know, for you all, web apps are what, 15 years old, and good mobile apps are at least 8 years old. Like, more likely than not, you're not gonna be the first to build something. And so more likely than not, if you're not somehow uniquely qualified to solve the problem, you're not gonna take advantage, you're not gonna win. You know, back then, being uniquely qualified to solve a problem was as simple sometimes as we know how to build web apps. You don't get that one anymore. So you do get way more money. You do get way more advice that's freely available. But what you don't get is this big open field where just being able to build something online is enough. And so, yeah, the framework I choose, are you uniquely qualified to solve this problem? And is this problem going to hack your motivation? Every day you work on this problem, even if you're not succeeding, will your motivation go up 1% or down 1%? Those are probably the two frameworks that I would use. And by the way, the third is I never like talking about ideas, ever. I hate when people ask, what's your idea? I only like talking about problems. Solutions change constantly. Problems are what stick. So that would be my last thing is like, when you're thinking about what to work on, fall in love with the problem. Don't fall in love with the first version of the solution. All right, good luck.
Well, we really appreciate your time speaking with us. And I know that other hackers and I gained a lot of insight in picking out who's cut out to be a founder and also how to pick a winning problem. So thank you so much.
No problem. And if anyone wants to reach out, my email is just michael@combinator.com. I strongly attempt to respond to every email. And if you mention that we met here, I will try to prioritize your email. Hi. All right. See you later.
Awesome. Thank you. And for hackers, following on this topic, we have David Bromberg from Open Water VC's event on building a company as a student. So head on over there now. And with this, thanks to all the hackers for kicking off IvyHacks with us. Happy hacking and stay active in the next 4 days for more events and mentorship. Thank you.